What's up, Army? It's Jackie, also known as Jackie in the Soup, and welcome to Talk Bangtan to Me, a podcast all about BTS for Army. Whether you're a seasoned Army or just discovering the magic of Bangtan, this podcast is a space to celebrate the music, the moments, and the incredible impact BTS has on our lives. I'll be diving into the world of fandom, chatting with fellow Army, and sharing all the reasons why we love these 7 normal boys from Korea. So come into my own little magic shop and talk Bangtan to me. Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. It's been a while. I know it's been a while. I originally intended to go to Korea and live my best life and go to FESTA. And then I came back and I've just had the hardest time. I'm going to be totally honest. I've had the hardest time just getting back into the swing of life. So what was originally going to be a 2-week break ended up being a 2-month break. But I don't know. I guess I just needed an extended summer vacation. As a lot of you know, I juggle a lot of plates in my daily life. And I hit this point where I said, something's got to give for a little bit. I had some big projects with work that I had to dive right into after Korea. I had Jin's tour, which we'll talk about in a bit. And I just felt like in this period of time, I needed to step back and prioritize and focus on the things that were most important. So I so appreciate those of you that have been patient, that have been asking when a new episode is coming out and encouraging me to take my time. Podcast is not going anywhere. I assure you. I need this outlet. I love it. And we still have to get through the Maknae Lines member episodes, and we are not missing out on those. So I feel like there's a lot of things to talk about. I don't even know where to begin, but I guess I'll start with Korea. I went to Korea, and if you follow along on Instagram, I've posted a lot of content around it. We did the BTS pilgrimage, we did all the things, and it was truly surreal. It was an adrenaline filled, jam packed 10 days, ending in FESTA, seeing all the members at Hobie's concert, which was just a core memory for me. I'll remember that for the rest of my life. If you've been to BTS concerts before, you know what post-concert depression is like. The post-concert depression I experienced after Korea was like post-concert depression on steroids. Literally. Walking in the footsteps of BTS and seeing all these historical landmarks in their career, and then ending the trip with seeing JK and Jin on stage with Hobie, seeing Yoongi for the first time since enlistment, all the members just loving each other's company and dancing and having a blast in that stadium was such a rush. That alone was very difficult to get over when I got back to the States. Just letting go of that blissful 10 days and getting hit with the harsh reality that this is not actually my life. This is not my life. Like, I have to go back to working in corporate America. I have to go back to being a single mother and, all of these responsibilities and paying bills. And I know that a lot of you can relate to that. Almost all of you can relate to that. It's very difficult to go back to your responsibilities and not know exactly when you're going to get a chance to experience that bliss again. Now, since then, we have heard from the guys and they've discussed their plans for spring 2026. So that has helped. But in that time between me returning from Korea to that first OT7 live, which was July 1st or something, I was really going through it, y'all. I really was. Because I was like, I know they're discharged. I know they're back. I saw them discharge, but now what? And it kind of reminds me of the fear of the unknown that we had when they first enlisted. Now we're experiencing it again. We know what's coming is good, but we don't know what it is exactly. And then all of those anxieties about ticketing start creeping up. And where are they going to perform? Am I going to get to go? So there's all of those feelings kind of happening, right? But I'm happy to say that I feel better. I feel like I'm ready to dive back in and I'm settling back into my routine. I just got back today from a 2-day adventure seeing Jin in Newark. It was so good. It was so good. Jin's tour really came at a perfect time because of all the things that I had just said that I was experiencing and going through. I had gone through some more criticisms and bullying from Army, which was kind of getting me down. And I really needed to go to this concert to remember what it is that I love about being in this fandom and what I love about giving back to this community, because I receive a lot of love. on a daily basis. I really, really do. But the hate feels so big when it happens. And it's hard to describe unless you've been through it yourself. But even though the hate is a smaller percentage, it feels like it takes over everything. And I was like, man, I really just need to be reminded of my why and get that motivation to keep going. So I truly didn't know what to expect going into Jin's concert. I had seen clips, but I actually did not stream it. I decided not to at the last minute. I was like, let me try this. I'm not going to stream it. I'm going to watch minimal clips, but I am going to go into this tour not really knowing what to expect. I anticipated it was going to be some sort of a variety show muster type thing, which is exactly what it was. But I didn't know much else. So, first of all, I had planned to spend some time with Army at an event that was going on, hosted by Hobie Hart. Her name's Vanessa. She's amazing. You should check her out. She hosts lots of Army events, but she was holding a free event right across from the stadium before both concerts. So, I made plans to be there. I had let people know that I was going to be there because I truly just wanted to say hi to people. I wanted to meet people. It's always a good feeling. And I was overwhelmed with the amount of love that I got just meeting people damn near constantly. People coming up and just saying, hi, nice to meet you, and just sharing a really wholesome exchange and getting some freebies. And it was great. So I filled up my cup with all of that before the concert. And I was feeling really good. I'm like, oh my gosh, so this is what Army is. Army is not those little toxic pockets of armies that exist on Twitter or Threads or wherever. Army is what you experience when you're at a concert. Everybody is happy, full of love, excited, given freebies. They're so happy to get freebies and hugs from you. It's a really, really beautiful, beautiful sight. And it's just community defined. So I don't know if the online haters were there. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't, but I didn't experience any of that. I experienced all just love and positivity, looking around the room and seeing people making friends. It was great. So I was feeling really good going into the concert. And I swear, the concert I was smiling from ear to ear. First of all, I just loved that, yeah, there was a fog machine, but he just walked through the fog for his entrance. He just walked out on the stage like nothing. He didn't pop up from the floor. He didn't come swinging from the rafters, which nothing wrong with that. We're used to BTS concerts being like big and theatrical. Yoongi and J-Hope had these really complex stages where Jin kept it really, really simple. There was screens, there was a couple stools for him to stand on, and there was a long catwalk so he can go out closer to the crowd. But that was really it. And he walked out and just jumped right into Running Wild and I'll Be There, which were just like the most infectious, happy pill songs that just make you want to jump and feel good. Like it set the tone completely for the concert. So two songs in, there's confetti flying everywhere. People are jumping. It just felt like this big sigh of relief. And the games that he chose were just so wholesome. Like I've never been to a concert like this in my life. I've been to a lot of concerts. But I've never experienced this type of concert. It was so unique to do this. Even when he was performing his songs, he wasn't going hard with lots of choreo and backup dancers. He wasn't exhausting himself. He was giving it his all with his vocals, which sounded perfect and crisp and clear and stable. But it felt like he was just hanging out with a huge stadium full of his friends, playing games and singing songs. It just felt so relaxed and natural. He looked comfortable. He didn't look exhausted. He just looked like he was having a great time. The games, he always found some sort of a way to roast us throughout or give us like a judging look. And I was just laughing so hard. And I'm surprised at how well he pulled off doing games with a stadium of over 20,000 people. Like, how do you pull that off? But he did, and it was so charming and special. I was also really impressed at him playing the piano. He played piano for a couple of songs, and he played really well and sang beautifully. It was kind of giving Chris Martin vibes. I think he took some inspiration from Chris Martin and Coldplay for sure, just with the energy he brought and the ideas he had with playing the piano, but then also doing lots of jumping and getting the crowd going, the giant balloons and streamers and lights. It felt very Coldplay. And Coldplay is one of the greatest arena acts in the world, in my opinion. He also really filled the time well. He's got Happy and Echo, and then his handful of BTS songs, which really isn't a huge discography. It's not, but he filled the time well with the games, with the interaction, with the talking. So it felt like a good mix. I didn't feel like there was too much talking and too much games. It was just enough. It was just enough. And the songs all sounded great live. So apart from the concert itself, what really blew my mind was the aftermath. So I had a group of friends that I meet up with for almost every Army event. Some were even in Korea with me. We just kind of start a group chat whenever something's happening, whether it's an exhibition or a concert, and we meet up and we share a meal, we hang out, all of these things. And we met up again for gin and we hung out all day before. But after the concert, we were so emotional. Like we were sending these lovey, heartfelt messages to one another about how grateful we were for each other, how much we love each other, and how we're like family, just completely in our feelings. And that is the Jin effect. That is truly the Jin effect. He created that within us, especially in the concert. There was a section where he said, well, I go change my outfit. You need to talk to the person next to you. So I did. I talked to the person next to me for a little bit. So he was kind of building that community. And I just think he would love to see how close everybody was after and how good everybody was feeling. You just felt happy and good inside. It just like filled up a piece of my heart that I needed. And then night 2, there was a bar across the street that Army just kind of flocked to. And we took over the street. Like we filled up an alley with a speaker and music and we just danced. We danced in the rain. It was raining right after the concert. We all just had the time of our lives. We were wet. We were singing. We were hugging. We would have gone all night long, but the cops eventually came and sent us all home. But I hope that somehow Jin sees that. And he sees that was his impact, because that doesn't happen after every concert. It really doesn't. I think you come away from these BTS concerts with something different each time. Hobie really proved himself as a performer and a well-rounded artist. He made lots of people feral and crazy, and he had people fall in love with his musical ability. Yoongi, people left like pretty emotional because his whole journey through his trilogy was very introspective and very healing, and I think people left with that. But Jin's was just pure feel good, happy vibes, just like him. So it was great. It really was an amazing couple of days, and I'm so glad that a lot of you took me up on my story where I said, please come up and say hi if we've never met before and you want to say hi. A lot of people took me up on that, and it was wonderful. So thank you for having the courage to come up and say hi to a stranger, because I know that's not always easy. One last thing I'll say about Jin's concerts is I can say this now because I know that my audience here should understand my come from, and I've talked about this many times. Jin has never been my cup of tea musically. It just hasn't really done it for me. I respect him as an artist and his role in BTS, but if I had to rank all the music, he'd probably be last on my list. And it's nothing against him. It's just a personal taste of mine. So going into the concert, though I like Echo and I like Happy, I don't frequent them as much as some of the others. So I went into it with this hope that I was really going to have this newfound love for Jin, that I was going to have a newfound appreciation and really just be so down for him like I am for the other 6. And I feel like that did happen. The songs for me hit way differently live because he sounded so good. It wasn't over singing. I think he was just very natural and comfortable, and you can tell. It showed. His voice is strong. It was great, and it made me love some of the songs. I think songs like Another Level and I'll Be There and just, I mean, all of them. They really are arena type songs, and that makes sense now that he was putting out songs that he could perform well in an arena, and they carried great. I'm gonna get murdered for this, but Epiphany is not a song that I really liked all that much. I know that that is a fan favorite. Like, people were in tears when he performed that. It was like me with Microcosmos when I heard Microcosmos live. Like, that is how people felt with finally seeing Epiphany. But it just wasn't one of my favorite songs. But when I saw him perform it live, I was like, I get it. I get why this song is so special to people. It was hauntingly beautiful. And the way he sang it with smoke all around him, just standing at a microphone, it was very emotional. So that song just hit totally different for me. And I can honestly say I listened to it on the way home because I was like, I need to hear that again because I've heard it with new ears. I also felt that way about Spring Day. Y'all are really going to murder me about that. Spring Day and Magic Shop were two songs that are fan favorites that were just never favorites of mine. But since Discharge, those two songs have been hitting totally different. I was sitting here working and Spring Day came on and it just hit me. It hit me like a train. I was like, "My gosh, I get it now with this song. I get it." And they've been using it a lot. You know, they did it at FESTA and Jin did it on his tour. So it's a symbolic song. They're using it quite a bit since Discharge. I know that they will perform it together as seven when the time comes. So yeah, that has really hit. And Magic Shop is another one as well. So I love to see how you can evolve through your journey of being Army. Just because you're not into something now, it just needs to hit you at the right time and you'll get it. You'll get it suddenly. So I love that for me. And I hope that that continues to happen with some other fan favorites. But speaking of fan favorites, Microcosmos was the highlight of my life. The only downside is I wish he did more of it. I would have loved to see him perform like half of that song. But the BTS medley was pretty short in entirety. It was maybe 15 seconds of each song. It was pretty short, but I love it. I love some Dynamite and some Butter live. Say what you want, but those in a stadium are always a party and they're fun. And it gives us a chance to sing in English because Newark proved that we suck at Korean. So it's nice to have those couple songs in there that we can sing in their entirety with him. But anyway, I'm blabbering on long enough. Great tour. I'm so proud of Jin. We'll see what he does in London. It's quite nice that the tour is coming to a close because I don't have to have FOMO for many more dates. There's maybe, what, 4 more days left, 4 more dates, and it's over. So we'll see what's going to happen. There is this like gaping chunk of time that's going to happen in August, September, where there's going to be something that's going to happen. Jin's tour is going to wrap up, but OT7 reunion is not until spring. So what the hell is going to happen in the fall? Something big is going to happen in the fall. A lot of people think it's JK's tour. That has really, really picked up since FESTA, especially seeing JK get right on the stage 2 days after discharging and performing seven. A lot of people thought, okay, this is him saying he's ready to be back on the stage again. He dove right into it. But since he did that, he has pulled back and he's really disappeared. He's made a couple of appearances. He just now has started coming on lives again, but he got very, very quiet and he's been in the US. And I don't know, I go back and forth because when they're quiet and when they're in the US, you know it's music related, something's happening. But part of me is like, no, OT7 is gathering in LA as they're able. Unless, Jin's on tour, whatever, but they're all gathering in LA and they made it very clear they're working on music. So part of me is like, maybe they're just working on music and nobody's going on tour. maybe JK really is just recharging, but this narrative that he is going on tour is being pushed very, very hard. I don't know if it's people manifesting, but I don't know. I didn't think it was possible, but now I kind of do. I'm like 50-50 on it. But apparently, there's some reputable sources out there that work for venues and things that have confirmed that there is a tour happening this fall. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, all hell's going to break loose if JK does a tour. I will be at as many of those as possible, but I'm also like, oh my gosh, my bank account needs a freaking break. It really, really does. Like, it's been relentless. It's been relentless. But these tours are such a precious gift. These tours are such a gift to us because, like I said before, they all have their own unique feeling that reflects who they are as artists. And I love to see it. So I would be thrilled to see what JK is going to pull off. If he's going to release some more music, another album, perhaps. We know that he can crank out albums quick. So maybe he'll put out an album in, late August into September. And then tickets go on sale in October for a November, December tour. And then we come back for OT7. And who knows? If JK's going to tour, maybe the members will follow him like they do with Jin. Like they do this like song camp thing where they continue working on the album. I don't know. A lot of speculation. I'm feeling post-concert depression from Jin creeping up on me. So in my head, I'm like, please announce something so I have a will to live. Like I need something to look forward to. I really need to know that the hard work I put in every day of my adult life is going to go to something that fills my cup like a BTS concert does. I don't know if I can wait until the spring. I mean, of course I can wait till the spring. We waited 3 years, but yeah, it would just be great to have this concert to look forward to. But that ticketing bloodbath would be rough because JK, we all know that JK it's going to be pandemonium. He's got a lot of solo stands too, a lot of solo stands, and it just will not be pretty trying to get those tickets. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. But yeah, I'm super impressed. The guys are working so hard. They are completely keeping their word. I mean, gosh, when they went quiet for a little while after Discharge, people were like, where are they? We miss them. Like, honestly, people need to stop because they're doing exactly what they promised they were going to do. They promised us back in 2022 that they were going to come back stronger together and enjoy the new synergy, their post-military glow ups, and they were going to do something great. They jumped into it immediately. Hardly any time to rest. I think maybe there was like a week of time where we saw Namjoon kind of around going to museums and doing things like that. But no, they have set up shop in LA and they are hunkering down and working hard. It seems like they have a schedule where they work all day and they don't have a whole lot of free time. So I can't wait to see what they are cooking up. Yoongi's very, very quiet. So he's probably working so hard putting down music for them. It's exciting to know that they are in my country right now. But I'll tell you, even though they're in my country, they're still messing up my sleep schedule because they're still going live, late at night because they're nocturnal basically. So they're going live at all these odd times. But it's comforting to know they're here and they're probably working on some great collabs and they're just spending time with each other again. Knowing that they are living together or at least spending most of their days together is so wholesome and heartwarming to me. Like, I just imagine them sharing meals and laughing together and joking with a renewed sense of closeness because they've all matured in their own ways in the military. If we know BTS, we know that they are filming it too. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of behind the scenes Bangtan bombs or something. So maybe a documentary following their discharge and the process of writing an album together. I'm sure we're going to see that someday. So there's a lot to look forward to. We should know by now that we are always fed. We do not have to worry about a thing. So we need to hang in there and we need to calm down, because that's another thing I just want to talk about quickly before I get into my guest. It seems like army on army crime is at an all-time high. There is just drama. It feels like people are being really ugly. And I know I just said a lot about Jin's concert and how beautiful Army was, and that is true. But in the online spaces, there's just been a lot of people getting in fights and causing all this ruckus about, visiting them at airports or stalking or streaming. Like, it's just to an extreme of Army attacking Army. And it's been really rough to see. It's really rough to see. I think people are feeling very protective and territorial since they've gotten out. It's one thing when you know that they're in the military, they're on this base, right? They're in a safe place where we know they're protected, but now they're out in the wild again, and Army feels this overwhelming need to protect them, which is good to a point, but you feel the need to protect them by tearing down and attacking other armies. That's not protecting them. It's just not. It's destroying the beautiful thing that BTS has built, which is Army, and the example they set for Army. If anything, we should be trusting that BTS is as protected as they need to be. They have the security, they have the experience, they know exactly what they're dealing with this fandom and sasaengs and stalkers, and they understand all of that. What we need to do as a fandom is pour into each other the way BTS has poured into us. They want us to be a community of love and support and family. They would never want to see us getting in fan wars and fights and canceling. They wouldn't want that. So I know if you're listening to me here, you're not some of those people that I'm talking about. But I just hope that if you're someone here who is listening and you feel the need to defend and go on an attack, that you just remember that you are representing BTS. You are representing these 7 amazing men who have given so much to us. So be an example. Be an example of kindness and selflessness, and be a pillar of the community. That's what they would want more than they want you to scold people for not streaming or going to an airport. Okay? So I hope that turns around. I hope it's just this weird moment where people just don't know how to act now that they're out. But I just know that I've just been sticking around my people, and I'm trying to keep my head down, but it doesn't always happen. And I am someone who has opinions that I speak out about. Sometimes they're polarizing. Sometimes it can be controversial, the things I say, and it can trigger people. I try not to be that way, but it's just who I am. I'm just going to be myself. And that's going to continue to either be well received or not. I know exactly who I am in my heart, and what I'm trying to do for this fandom is be an example and be a source of warmth and kindness and friendliness for other armies. So anyway, enough of that. Let's get into my guest. So my guest on the podcast is none other than Miss Elsa. And if you follow me on Instagram and you're part of my group chats on my communities, you probably know Elsa. She's been a friend of mine for a couple of years now. She really has been in the communities for a while, and she does a great job at welcoming people in and being very kind to people when they come into my little communities here. So she's been of great help to me and has my back in many ways. I wanted to have her on for this episode because I'm talking a lot about Army, and she has really immersed herself in Army. So I'm happy to have her on. So please join me in welcoming Elsa. Hi, Elsa. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me here.
You're finally here. It is about time. You're looking beautiful.
Thank you. You too.
So I consider those of you that are listening to this probably know Elsa by this point if you've been following me on Instagram, but Elsa is definitely someone I consider to be one of the pillars of my little community that I've created. So, why don't you go ahead and kick us off for those that don't know you and tell us your army story?
Well, my army story, it goes back before I became army. I was in a really long relationship, an 18-year-old relationship. It was always very toxic and really bad. So we got separated about 3 years ago. And an 18-year-old relationship, you don't want it to end because you have your family and your children. My children are now adults. I raised 5 children, and we decided to kind of like give it a shot and try to work things out in certain way. And then one day I was at his place and I was taking a nap. And then in my nap, I had this dream. And I know it was a dream, but it was creepy. There was this man standing there looking at me sleep, and he was wearing all black clothes, and his hair was about this long, and he was drenched in sweat or water or something. I don't know. I couldn't see his face. I couldn't see his skin, his hands. I couldn't see him. But I was freaked out. I didn't know what this person wanted or what the message was. I didn't know if it was a nightmare. I didn't know if he wanted to kill me or something. I don't know. I woke up, and by that time, my ex got to his house. And I told her, you know what? I don't feel good. I need to go. So I left, and I left it at that. For the next week, I was thinking about, BTS because my daughter is an army. I have a 23-year-old daughter.
Mhm.
Um, and she had all of her BTS stuff packed away in boxes. So I didn't know what she had. I couldn't see pictures. I mean, I saw one here and there, but I didn't know them. I didn't know their names or who they were, basically. A week later, my ex and I had like a really big argument over something really stupid. And I thought, what the fuck am I doing? It's been 18 years of toxicity and really bad relationship between him and I that affected our children, that affected my way of living and the way that I saw things because he was my entire world. So I left his place and I never spoke to him again. A week later, I was at work. It was June 7th, the day of the Bang Bang Con. But I didn't know this. And I was at work watching performances and award shows and everything. And I thought, these guys are really good. I like how they dance, how they sing, how they perform in on the lights. And I was looking at everything that they were doing. I was just mesmerized. I wasn't thinking straight. I was just mesmerized of how they were performing. And I thought, these guys are good. So when I came across D-Day and I saw Yoongi with his black, I don't know exactly what he was wearing, but he was wearing the D-Day jacket. He said D-Day, and then he went back and he put that. I started bawling. I did not know what to do. I started crying, and I thought, this man is the guy in my dream.
Mm.
And I had the shivers. I was crying at work, and I thought, why was this man in my dream? I didn't know what to do, but I left it at that. I finished my shift at work, and I drove home. My daughter wasn't home anymore. She works night shifts. So she called me at 7:30 p.m. and she said, "Mom, just turn on your TV and turn on my Weavers because Bang Bang Con is going to start at 8 p.m." And when she came home, we went through the night. We watched BTS all night until 6 a.m. And at that time, I used to start my shifts at 6 a.m. So I spent 24 hours watching BTS. And the next morning, I woke up at 9 a.m. and I was very teary. And I thought, what's happening? And I thought, this is it. I'm army. And I didn't know. But it took me about 4 days to know their names because that's all I wanted. I wanted to bond with my daughter over BTS because that was her thing. And she's my
Mm.
baby. She's my little one. And that's the day I became army. And the next morning I thought, but why was that specific guy in my dream? He was just standing there, just staring at me. And my thought process was, okay, maybe this guy was saying, this is not the life for you. Wake up, get the hell out of
Mm,
here, because this is not for you. There's something
mhm.
better out there for you. And I never looked back,
Yeah. It's like it
not
was a
anymore.
premonition. You saw this Jungi type figure in your dream, not
Hmm.
realizing it was Jungi at the time, and it was this
Hmm.
premonition that you were about to be opened up to this world that was gonna make
Hmm.
you love yourself and
Hmm.
value yourself more than ever before and
Yes.
know what you deserve and a partner,
Hmm.
and it wasn't that. Wow, that's amazing. I can relate to that. I can relate to kinda being in a relationship that is toxic and you're just kind of stuck in it. And, you find BTS and you immerse yourself in them and Army and their music and everything. And you don't feel that need to have that romantic partner. Like you just don't. Um,
No.
because you learn to love your own company and you find friends and a social life and like the world of BTS gives you so much that you don't need to rely on a partner for.
Exactly.
That's how I feel. Yeah. I love that. So then you became Army right during Bang Bang Cons. I
Yes.
I remember I stayed up all
Hmm.
night for it too. And we didn't get a Bang Bang Con this year, which was a little disappointing.
Hmm.
I mean, we got some streaming for Festa, but Bang Bang Con is like so much fun. I love it and look forward to it.
Hmm.
But, we connected shortly after, like a couple days after you became Army. I must have come up in your algorithm or something. My community really grew in the military enlistment era because I think people were searching for something, searching for someone to help them get through because it was hard to fall in love with these guys and then they leave. So, the community really flourished, and we helped each other get through it. And you have really leaned into that. Like I said in the beginning, like you've fully leaned into community. You made a fan account, you put yourself out there, you're very active and welcoming to everybody. So, coming into the fandom and jumping right in, what has your experience with Army been like?
Many times you have your family and you trust your family. You love them and they're with you 100% of the time. But there is something about Army that's irreplaceable.
Mhm.
You were the first account that I had followed on my personal account.
Mm,
And you're a wonderful person. I love you so much. What you have
mm,
done is open a door for a lot of Army to walk in and stay safe, to be free to say, to think, to express, because there's a lot of people who are encaged and they don't
mm,
speak out. They don't say what they're feeling. They don't say what they're suffering or what they're going through. I can't say that I'm one of them, but I have been in contact with so many people and I have not come across a person that I don't relate to, that are not friendly or unkind.
mhm,
I love people, and for many years, my relationship lasted about 20 years, and I never made friendships. I was
mm,
dedicated to my family, to my children, to my spouse, to my work, to my family. And I remember that my ex would tell me when I would tell him, "Oh, I'm talking to my friend," and he would make fun of me, and he would tell me, "You don't have friends."
mhm.
I love Army so much, like so much since day one. But it has to be the right kind of Army. It doesn't have to be like absolutely everybody. It has to be like your people. When you feel
Your people.
comfortable, that's your people. And I feel
Mm,
like the community that you have is my people.
mhm.
All of them.
Yeah. Really, the people that stick around and stay, it's because we're all kind of like-minded. We're all, just we have the same kind of love for BTS. We're not
Mhm.
here for the drama. We wanna have fun with it because being in the fandom should be fun. You should just be
Mhm.
having fun with your girlfriends,
Yeah.
through it. It's really amazing, and I identify with that. I'm not someone who could ever keep friends. I would
Mm.
make friends, lose friends, never really had, like, ride or die friends.
Mhm.
And I started doing the same thing. When I go to concerts now, I just put it out on my Instagram, like, you can say hello. And so many people have said to me, like, they would have been too shy or they're not someone that can just go up to someone and say hello. Like, they're not that type of person. I'm not that kind of person. So I get it. But to just say, like, come say hi to me. Like, I'm here for you. I would love to say hello to you. And we have a lovely conversation and we stay connected. We take a picture and it's amazing, and they got to feel like, they came alone, but they got to feel like in that moment, they got to connect and have a friend and talk, and that's awesome. Because I remember the days of going to army or to BTS stuff myself and not knowing a soul. I would never walk up to an army and just say, "Hi." Like, I would never do that. So, I'm loving that not only do I do that, you do that, people in the community do that. Soupies are creating group chats every time there's a concert now, and they just put it out there. Who's going to this concert? Who's going to this one? And they meet up and they share a meal and they have a great time. And it's like everybody has these connections and bonds that they didn't have before. And it's an amazing thing. We have East Coast Soupies, we have LA Soupies, we have North Carolina Soupies. We got them everywhere. And we never have to be alone now. It's like
Never.
we never walk alone, ever. We have each other, and
Yes.
it's amazing to go into 2025 with this. It's great. So, what would you say is that what you love most about the fandom? The fact that we have that openness and love, or they make you feel safe? Like, what is it that you love about being a part of Army?
What I love the most about Army is that they don't have to be your next door neighbor. I
Mm,
have friends in India that are my bestest friends. I confide in them. I trust them 100%. I have friends in
mhm,
Florida that are my best friends. Doesn't have to be your neighbor. It doesn't have to be, across the city. It doesn't have to be here in LA.
mhm,
What I love the most about it is the language barrier. You don't need it.
mhm,
You
mhm.
just connect. You connect in a certain way that is so spiritual that is it's unbelievable.
Yeah, that is so true. Like, if you would have asked me years ago if I would be conversing daily with people in India, in Europe, Indonesia, Africa, just everywhere. Army is so vast. And
Mhm.
I'm just like, literally anywhere I go in this world to see BTS, I could probably find an army somehow through
Yeah.
social media and we would
Hmm.
connect. Like, it doesn't even matter. I've had people from Italy offer to host me for free. Like, that's just the power of army. We're just like, we're this big global family. And you're right. And I think that it helps that BTS, I mean, God, we can't communicate with them at all. The language barrier. Like, we can't, but they've taught us that it doesn't matter. It
It
doesn't
does not
matter.
matter.
You can be from a different nation, speak a different language, not understand one another, but you do understand one another deep
Hmm.
down, and that bleeds into army too. That's why we have friends from all over the world.
Hmm.
It's amazing. Okay, so song choice of the episode. I actually just asked Elsa right before we got on what it was going to be. I was not prepared. Usually I like to know what it is a little earlier, but I just asked her right before. So I was like, oh my gosh, let me refresh my memory on that. So why don't you
Okay.
tell everybody your song choice of the episode?
William 52.
Love it. And that is a perfect choice for the topic, talking about having a voice and army and BTS and that connection. So, is that a personal favorite of yours or it just has a special meaning to you? Why'd you choose that song?
It's not my absolute favorite, but the meaning behind it is so powerful. We can connect with it,
Mm,
especially the loners, the
yeah.
people who don't have a voice. A lot of people don't, even if they try to speak, nobody understands. And
Yeah.
there is another connection that we do have together with Army and BTS that nobody
Mhm.
else understands. So
Mhm.
when it comes to the community and Army and people who are not extroverts like I am, it's very hard to express themselves.
Uh-huh.
And it's also very important to listen and to be there for someone who needs to be listened to and be heard.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I feel like I'm one of them. I can hear it. And when my daughter explained to me what this song meant, I lost it. I was like,
Mhm.
this is one, it's not my favorite song, but it's a song that is extremely important.
It
And I,
symbolizes army and
yes,
the connection we have with BTS.
yes.
For sure. And they had a huge whale at FESTA in the Army Zone. The center of the room was this
Mhm.
giant lit up whale. It was huge. It's symbolic in the community for sure.
Mhm.
BTS wanted their voices to be heard and Army was the place where they felt like their voices reached and were heard. And I think we feel that way about BTS also. You know, BTS made us feel like we weren't alone anymore. And Army makes us feel like we're not alone anymore. So that's amazing. And yeah, I was telling Elsa before we came on that that's not on my like my favorites playlist that I listen to all day every day. So it's one of those that I have to intentionally put on, and I haven't in a long time because I've been so wrapped up in like Mona Lisa and Killing It Girl and you know, I'm in that like whirlwind of
Yeah.
J-Hope and now going into Jin, and it's like, oh, I always forget about Whalian 52. Like that is an Army song, just like Microcosmos, just like, you know, Young Forever and all those songs that are really symbolic in the fandom.
Yes.
They're considered anthems in a sense, like
Mhm.
Army anthems. So that's a good one. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a Yoongi song. I thought you were gonna pick a Yoongi song. What's your favorite Yoongi song?
It has to be Snooze.
That's a good one.
Yes.
That's a good one. Oh my gosh, Elsa, we've been talking for 36 minutes. See, I told you time was gonna fly. I told you. She was
Oh
so
yeah.
nervous coming on. She was like, "I'm terrified." She's drinking whiskey. That's a true Yoongi stan. That's a Yoongi stan. She comes on, she's drinking whiskey, getting ready to go to have our conversation, and I just knew that we were gonna have no problem. Because you and I also just kind of have that connection. We have since the very beginning, since
Yes.
day one, and we've remained tight ever since. You've had my back and I have yours, and you're very, very important to me. I'm so happy you came to join me, and I'm so excited to see how this next chapter of us as a fandom, as a community looks this year. What that's going to look like, the excitement, just we made it. We're here. Here that we all longed for is here, and we're going
Mhm.
to have a blast. Well, I will see you on Instagram as we talk every day, but thanks again and say bye to Army.
Well, thank you for having me. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Once again, I want to thank all of you for being so patient as I went on my little break. I'm excited to get back into our members series. So next up in the fan chant order is none other than our sweet Mochi Jimin. I'm excited to dig in and talk about him because he has been one of my favorite post-military members right now. So we'll talk about Jimin and we'll see what else happens in the next 2 weeks. Can't wait to continue the adventure with you, Army. Borahei.